Hi everyone, I'm Paige Abbott and this is your weekly recovery message. This week I thought I would talk about taking up space. I grew up as the lost child, so it was really deeply embedded in my programming from a young age to basically do anything possible to hide. Even my breathing mimicked this idea of wanting to hide. Didn't want to breathe too loudly, didn't want to stand out, so how I dressed, how I acted, what I said, what I didn't say, my behavior in school with friends, hobbies, activities, behavior at home, everything was influenced by this idea of basically wanting to hide. Now, of course, I did connect and I did have friendships and important people and I did have family, but it was very kind of meticulous and very thoughtful about when and how I would participate with them. And so I often felt very on guard, and I carried a lot of shame and insecurity with me for a really long time. It's truly only in my adulthood when I started to look at health and wellness and self-development for myself that this started to change. And as I started to do that, I kept coming across this idea of taking up space. And this idea really hit me in the context of yoga, because it was something that a teacher was encouraging, like really focus on poses that take up space. And now when I'm doing that, it's far more comfortable than it was in the past. But many years ago, and certainly if I had come across that idea when I was quite young or in childhood, that idea was actually quite terrifying to me. I didn't want to take up space. And I know that for many of you watching, you're in a similar position or have been in the past. And many of you, like myself, have lived and censor your actions with this idea of wanting to hide, wanting to just stay below the radar, don't draw any attention to yourself, and just kind of live almost invisibly or anonymously, of course with some connections and engagement with life, but really not wanting to rock the boat in any substantial way. For those of you out there who are in that situation, if this isn't something that you've already been exploring in your recovery and wellness work, it is something I would really encourage you to not just reflect on, but you may want to start taking some action around it. So what is this idea of taking up space? Well, we can start, as I said, this idea came through the physical context of yoga. So physically is a place to explore or even to start, just really paying attention to the space that your body takes up in the atmosphere and in the environment. If you're doing physical activity, making the activities quite grandiose, like taking up the space, making sure your movements are very elongated, wide, strong, powerful, and really owning your body and the surrounding space that it takes up. In relationships, taking up space means participating, sharing about yourself, asking questions, offering information for yourself, speaking up if something's bothering you or if you're happy about things, actively participating and revealing those parts of you that your training and your programming has said we need to hide. Emotionally, getting comfortable, taking up space with your feelings. If you're angry, if you're sad, if you're joyful, starting to appreciate that it's okay to have those emotions and to have that space to feel them. You may want to start that on your own first, just being comfortable with crying, with being angry, with that expression and that processing of feeling. And spiritually, how do we take up space spiritually? We connect, we engage, we participate, we go out in nature, we connect with humanity, we go to a celebration place, a church, a temple, a mosque, we engage, we participate. I know some of you watching are living on the other side of the spectrum where your shame has actually led you to already take up what feels like a lot of space through ego and through grandiosity. And so your work moving forward will be to take up healthy space that is vulnerable, that is accurate, that is authentic. Because even that space that's been taken up, if it is motivated by ego, grandiosity, which are ultimately rooted in shame, then this isn't the kind of healthy taking up space that we're talking about here. That will look more like bulldozing. So it can be controlling, manipulative, very selfish, and really not authentic or congruent to who you are. So it's learning how to take up space when being yourself rather than putting on that mask or that facade that you've grown comfortable in. I appreciate you watching, and I do wish you all the best in this idea of taking up space. It's a work in progress for me, and I'm really grateful to say I'm more and more comfortable with it most days, not every day, but it certainly is something that I've grown to appreciate the value of, and it just helps me feel grounded, calm, comfortable, and content in my own skin. Really, what more could we hope for? I wish you the best. Bye for now.